Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you. Okay, so for today, guys, I am going to be talking about the miraculous day. Now, just as I guess maybe a justification of why I have my notes here and my glasses on, I do not use a teleprompter. This is the beginning of my musings on the day. And I'm just going to kind of go through and discuss with y'all what I've already just kind of started researching about the day. And so the word day, it originates from the Old English daig, which refers to the period of light or of a lifetime. So right there, right, we see contradiction in having an absolute definition of what day is, right? The term day actually is it comes over 100 different times in different Bible verses. I'm going to read you guys a couple of them. And remember what I said at the beginning of this, not today's intuitive talk, but just in general, that through these spiritual discussions, I will take from books of divine work that have worked in my life. And so the Bible is one of that. I do not consider myself on the Christian path, so to speak. But the Bible definitely speaks to me in beautiful ways. And I believe strongly that all paths lead to the one. All paths lead to the one. And so 100 different Bible verses about the day, the miraculous day. So Psalm 118, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, right? Let us rejoice and be glad in where we are in this moment. Leviticus 23, 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, right? This really spoke to me because I'm a recovering busy bee. And so I have to remind myself that yes, faith without works is dead, but I also have to rest or my body isn't going to make it, right? So rest is important, the Sabbath day. And, guys, as I talk about this, the day in terms of how I feel that it's significant in different spiritual paths, to me, I mean, the day itself is a subjective term. It can mean a 24-hour period. It can mean an age, right? It can mean yesterday. I mean, it's just a subjective word. Even the original definition of day, it goes from evening to morning. So the actual original definition of day wasn't even necessarily a 24-hour period. It was the period of light. Right. And so we can use that in a metaphysical way to consider our own periods of light and what it is that we want to do. What types of inspired action do we want to put into this time of light, the day? And so Psalm 23 says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I love the Psalms, guys, just beautiful poetry. And in 1 Peter 3, for whoever desires to love life and see good days, let him keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. And so within the day, be mindful and conscious about the words that we speak, right? Because in the beginning, there was the word, guys, right? It is about the language. It is the intention behind the language that we put into the frequency, the atmospheres that really, creates our everyday moments. And so, let him keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit is a reminder for us, right, to stay in right action. And so those are just a few verses from the Bible. So let us move to another book that I have found a lot of inspiration from over the years, and that's the Big Book of AA. So, in the Big Book of AA, they discuss having a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Okay, does some of this begin to sound familiar with other talks that I've had? Oh, yay, I love that you guys are watching from India. And I love, yes, you see that I have the Ganesha. Ganesha is one of my favorite, deities to guide me. And I'm so thankful that you guys are here watching. I just love it. So, moving into this discussion of a daily reprieve, right? And so the Big Book talks about on page 86 through 87 the morning routine. Upon awakening, think about the 24 hours ahead. Consider plans. Ask God for direct thinking, divorced from self pity, dishonesty, or self seeking, right? And ask for divine direction. And then in reviewing the day, upon retiring in the evening, ask, did I think of others or was I mostly self-serving, right? And then admit any, flaws, or I don't like to say character flaws. I just say energy that really no longer serves in the body, and ask for forgiveness. And a lot of times that forgiveness is really forgiving yourself, right? And so we see that in the Bible, it talks about, within the day, make these conscious, mindful decisions to keep our tongue from evil, right? That we work will be done, but to also rest. And then we see in the AA book that, it gives us a morning routine, right? Upon waking, ask for right action, and then go and review, right? So, this same type of spiritual principle for the day that we find in verses in the Bible, we find in verses of the AA Big Book that I do believe was divinely inspired in the same way, we also find the same type of daily meditative ponderings in the Buddhist traditions, right? And so for the Buddhists, they treat each 24-hour period as a fresh and sacred opportunity to practice mindfulness, to cultivate compassion, and live intentionally, right? And so to transform each daily task as a spiritual practice. And guys, this spoke to me so much because hold on, I gotta just like get rid of that because I don't have the YouTube premium, even though I love the YouTubes. Anyways, oh, guys, so I think like the commercial just like took me out of where I was at. Oh yeah, so like within the Buddhist traditions, they talk about how within our daily tasks, faith without works is dead, right? But each work that we do with intention within the day is a spiritual practice, right? And so, we see we've gone through Christianity, we've looked at the Big Book and AA, we've looked at different Buddhist traditions, and it's all about bringing it back to the day. We think of Eckhart Tolle and his book, The Power of Now, right? It is in this moment that all things are possible, right? It is not in, what happened yesterday. It is not what happened, what may happen tomorrow. The message and the energy and the power is in this moment. And if you guys remember from my discussion last week on Louise Hay and some of the other new thought teachers, it is also, the daily practice. The day is basically the crux of all spiritual practice, right? And so in Louise Hay's three steps for transformation, it's a morning ritual, right? It's a midday action, and it's also a nightly gratitude, right? And then the week before, we talked about Neville Goddard, and he said a very similar thing. And so we see, right, that all of these different spiritual paths and all of these different roads all lead back to the miraculous day. And so I ask you guys, what are you going to do with your miraculous day? Whether that day be the period of light that you have metaphysically entered, right? That period of light as a state. What are you going to do? Or what are you going to do within those 24-hour periods? Louise Hayes talks about the 24-hour period as a chapter. I look at it as a page, right? And so you have one page to work with. So what are you going to do with your miraculous day?